पंजाब टेलीविजन देख रहे सारे दर्शकों का बहुत बहुत स्वागत। सत श्री अकाल, नमस्कार। मैं ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਮਨਨ ਗੁਪਤਾ। ਜੀ ਹਾਂ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੁੜ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਹੋ ਰੋਡ ਟੂਡੇ 360, ਇੱਕ ਐਸਾ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਟਰੱਕਿੰਗ, ਟਰਾਂਸਪੋਰਟੇਸ਼ਨ, ਆਟੋਮੋਟਿਵ, ਟ੍ਰਾਂਜ਼ਿਟ ਔਰ ਟ੍ਰੈਫਿਕ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੁੱਦਿਆਂ ਦੀ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਪਸੰਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ। ਰੋਡ ਟੂਡੇ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਦੀ ਐਕਸਕਲੂਸਿਵ ਪੇਸ਼ਕਸ਼ ਫॉर ਪੰਜਾਬ ਟੈਲੀਵਿਜ਼ਨ, ਔਰ ਸਾਡੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੱਕ ਐਸੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ, ਐਸੇ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਜਾਣ ਜਿਹਦੀ ਚਰਚਾ ਬੜੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਜਿਹਦੀ ਇੰਪਲੀਮੈਂਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਾਰੋਬਾਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਰੱਕੀਆਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਔਰ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਟਰੱਕਿੰਗ ਐਸੋਸੀਏਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਚੇਅਰ ਔਰ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਹੋਰ ਸੰਸਥਾਵਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਮੁਖੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਔਰ ਕੁਝ ਇੱਕ ਐਸੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਸਕਸੈਸ ਸਟੋਰੀਜ਼ ਰਚੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਉਸੇ ਲੜੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਆਰ ਵੈਰੀ ਪਲੀਜ਼ਡ ਐਂਡ ਵੈਰੀ ਆਨਰਡ ਟੂ ਹੈਵ ਨਨ ਅਦਰ ਦੈਨ one of the leading lights of trucking industry if you talk about driver training or driver professionalism, and who has been in the industry for more than 3 decades now. And I would like to welcome none other than Broderick from Apps Transport. Guy, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, Manan. Thank you for having us here.
It's always a pleasure to meet you and to talk to you and to know about how you have given back to the industry, after learning and then, passing on the torch and light to others.
I like to think of it many years ago when I was in training. I had a very good group of mentors, and they always stressed to me the importance of sharing that knowledge, and that's what I like to do.
Absolutely. So, Guy, you have been in the industry for more than 3 decades, more than 32 years to be very precise, and you have seen mostly all aspects of the transportation sector. So tell us what you bring to the table, what kind of experience, what kind of challenges you have seen in the last 3 decades.
Well, I started, Manan, with a private fleet here in the Toronto area. And then from there, as I got my license and I started to drive for the private fleet, then I kind of entered into the real world of trucking by going for a for-hire fleet.
Okay.
And I was very lucky at my previous company to be trained by them. We had our own in-house training program, which wasn't like a typical driving school. Instead of having, say, a month of driving training, we actually had 6 months, almost 7, almost 8 months, depending on the driver,
right,
learning all aspects, all different transmissions, vehicle size types, everything. So coming into the training field, I had a lot of experience on a lot of different types of equipment when I first started in the training area.
Very nice. And you have gradually evolved yourself. Now you are the recruiting and safety compliance specialist with Apps Transport. What is your exact role these days?
The exact role is recruiting and driver training supervisor, and I'm also the social media specialist for Apps Transport Group.
Wonderful. And there have been a lot of awards and recognitions which have come to Guy's way based upon his commitment, his contribution and his professional strength. Some of them which I am very pleased to share is Highway Star of the Year in 2015, which was presented at the Truck World Show. And then also you were runner-up for the Driver of the Year with the Truckload Carriers Association.
Yeah, I was one of the top 3 finalists in North America. I was actually in Las Vegas at the TTSAO convention.
Nice.
It was quite an honor to be on that stage with
representing Canada.
I was the only person on the company driver side representing Canada, so it was quite an honor to be amongst such a large group of mainly American carriers.
Wow.
But yeah, it was quite an honor for that.
And you have been also the road knight from Ontario Trucking Association.
In 2009, 2010, I was an OTA road knight. And in 2010, I was also the Volvo Trucks Canada, Ontario Trucking Association's Driver of the Year.
Wow.
And the most recent award was from TELUS and Fleet Complete. I was their Driver of the Year.
Very nice. So lots of congratulations to you and your family for supporting your journey throughout.
I couldn't have been where I am today if it wasn't for my family.
That's so true. That's so true. Support of family is very integral in any profession you work, especially in transportation and trucking, because you are away from your home, you are away from your loved ones, your younger ones. So definitely that support does motivate and keeps everybody on the go. So moving ahead, Guy, I've seen you, being emceeing a lot of trucking events. You have been called to deliver remarks, your presentations, and I've shared stage with you at some of those events, which is a very, rare phenomena to, share stage with you. But moving ahead, I know there is a big shortage of drivers, professional drivers, in the industry. How do you see that shortage? Why did that shortage, first of all, come?
Okay, I'm going to take a statement that you just said. There's a shortage of professional drivers.
Correct.
Yes, there are drivers out there, but there is a difference between a driver and a professional driver. And unfortunately, there's a lot of drivers who don't, we'll say, they don't really care about safety. They more or less look at it, oh, that's my 9-to-5 job, I go to it. Whether something is wrong with the equipment that I'm driving, I don't really care about it in that sense. And unfortunately, the industry has seen a few bad apples, and people think of the industry as being a bunch of rogue cowboys that they don't really care about safety. But that's very untrue. If you've been in the industry as long as what I have, you get to know those players and those companies that really stress safety above everything else.
Yes.
And I'm proud to say that I work for a company that's our general rule right off the bat. We don't want people leaving the yard with a defect, and we won't ask anybody to do that. That's just not the way we do things.
Very nice.
And to be a successful carrier, you have to be that way. You cannot be the kind of carrier that lets parts fall off of trucks on a highway. You have to hire professionals because, in my opinion, truck driving is a professional job. I think there needs to be a designation there. I would be very happy to see it become a full Red Seal apprenticed trade across Canada, not just here in Ontario, but across the country. I work with the Ontario College of Trades. I'm the chair of the Tractor Trailer Trade Board for the apprenticeship program, and it's a great program to be. We would like to see more companies become part of the program.
Right.
But training is a big issue here in Ontario and the rest of Canada, and we really need to stress the importance of safety and training to become a professional driver.
And definitely safety is a big theme for our programming at Road Today 360, whether it is Punjab Television or Road Today Media Group. We always try to showcase the safety elements of our daily life, whether you are using roadways, highways, or whether you are working at a workplace, you're doing any little thing. Safety should be a part of your life. And
Hands down.
And definitely, you have been in the industry, you have seen industry up very close. How do you see this MELT program, mandatory entry-level training program, improving the professionalism of new truck drivers?
Well, it's interesting when you talk about MELT. I actually sat on the planning committee for the MELT program.
Nice.
And when you take a look at the way MELT was developed, it was basically taken from the National Occupation Standard, which was rewritten by Trucking HR Canada, as well as influence from the Canadian Trucking Alliance. If you look back and see how thick the document was for a truck driver, how it was classed by the government, it's a very thin document. Now the document is almost 98 pages. It really brings into light what it really takes to become a professional driver. And with the MELT program, that was basically modeled in so many different ways from the NOS for professional tractor trailer drivers. And it brings training standard to a new level. Ontario is the first jurisdiction in North America to bring out such a program. And there was, what I personally liked about what the Ontario government did is working with different ministries as well as different stakeholders. Like you had everybody from the Ontario Trucking Association, you had representatives from Canada's trucking insurance industry, you had representatives from the Truck Training Schools Association of Ontario, as well as MTO officers, as well as different trade or transport companies across Ontario. They were all at the table, everybody giving their opinion. The government was taking notes on how to make this program the best and the best modeled program not only in Canada, but as well as North America.
Very nice. Well, for those the viewers, those who don't know, mandatory entry level training program was introduced in Ontario since July 1st, 2017, and very shortly it will be completing its first year. We'll see how are the reviews, what are the shortcomings, or what the industry has benefited. But definitely, people like GE and other professional associations, they have played a vital role in transforming the training aspect of the industry. So before we take a break, I know there's a big hiring event happening.
Yes.
And you are the chair of Truck Training Schools Association of Ontario for the Carrier Group.
Yes.
So tell us briefly about the date and the time and the venue, and then we'll talk more after the break.
The Truck Training Schools Association, we came up with an event. We were brainstorming one day, and it was an idea that I kind of had in my head from 2010 when I was at a road night presentation for the OTA. And I had a lot of, not only students coming up, but I had a lot of parents coming up wanting to learn more about the industry, things that they didn't know, because they might have been going through a job change themselves, they might have been involved in a manufacturing plant, and everybody knows in Ontario manufacturing has kind of changed a little bit, so they were looking for a different career choice. So not only did I have students coming to me, I had parents coming to me. And I always kind of put it in the back of my head that I've never seen a career fair which is really geared for bringing new drivers into the industry, people that were of an older age.
Right.
So I always had that thought in the back of my head, and it was basically like the term that I used was touch a truck event for adults.
Okay.
So in talking with the TTSAO board, kind of came up with the idea of a hiring event. But what makes our hiring event a little bit different than most hiring events is not only are we having carriers, and this is the really interesting thing. If you look at our list of carriers, right now we have 25 carriers attending the event.
And they are coming up more.
The list is actually increasing. Like I get emails every day, 1, 2, 3 carriers are jumping on board.
Right.
Not only are we looking for carriers to become part of the event, we're actually looking for the service side of the industry, technicians. There is a driver shortage, yes there is, but you talk to anybody that works on the service sector side of transportation, there's a professional technician shortage, right? Huge problem.
Yeah.
But not only are we looking for drivers and technicians, we're looking for operational staff, people that might work in a 3PL environment, people that might work in the administrative side of transportation, operations side of transportation, dispatchers. Everybody knows if you work for a trucking company, a dispatcher is actually a very prized position. So the whole idea came about to kind of target people who wanted to come into the industry, not just for driving, but for all those other areas. Now, some of the companies that are going to be participating, some of the biggest trucking companies in Canada, but not only trucking companies, some of the biggest truck dealerships in Canada, and we even have a bus company.
Wow, very interesting. So the hiring fair is happening, the hiring event is happening on May 26th. The day is Saturday, and the venue is very convenient. It's the IHSA's conference center on Creekbank Road, which is on Matheson and Dixie area. So if you take 401, take the exit on Dixie, and it's very conveniently located, tons of free parking. But we'll talk about it more. We'll provide you more details about the event. But right now it's time for a little commercial break. Stay tuned. You're watching Punjab Television. I'm your host, Manan Gupta. We'll be back very shortly.